So let's give her a hand.
I'll get you your clicker. Thank you.
Here's a clicker for you.
Yeah, that's new. I have to figure out how to coordinate both of these.
You need a Britney Spears microphone, right?
Yes. Okay. Well, I have a pretty loud voice, so even if the microphone is not working, everybody should hear me. So hello.
Hi.
Nice to see everybody. Thank you for that warm welcome. This is my first time presenting, but since so many of you were at convention, if I mess up, I'm expecting you to just jump in and fill in the blanks, right, when I get stuck. So feel free to give me a hand there. Convention kit, we're going to talk about all of those great new products. But first, I asked if I could just take a minute to talk about the science that they covered at convention this year. I thought it was really important, and it was kind of advanced, right? If you watched the live stream or if you were at convention, this was something that Dr. Hill said, Dr. Talbot had to come visit him like 3 times before he really understood what he was trying to tell him. So I was like, wow, Dr. Hill couldn't even understand this right away. There's no hope for any of us. So I watched this quite a few times, and I'm just going to give you kind of the distilled version. And the reason that I think this is important is because we're starting to see doTERRA talk a lot now about pathways and about the effects that the oils are having on different pathways in the body and different systems in the body. And so we can expect to see a lot more of this research coming forward. And as this particular lab at the Roseman Institute continues to work on these things, we're going to see a lot more of this. So, oops, of course I messed it up immediately. Just going to put it back to me. So this is just to show you, they have a really skillful and they're all doctorate level scientists working at this lab. So there's a lot of brains going into this research, which is really impressive. So to give you a little background, we saw a lot of these slides, and I think this is where people start to glaze over and they're like, I have no idea what I'm looking at. Yeah, exactly. But if you're not, I'm going to explain it. So what they did with these studies is they basically took human liver cells and they put them in a petri dish, and they took diluted essential oils and they applied them to these cells for a period of 24 hours. And what they were looking for is a change in the signaling of these pathways. So, particularly for this study, they were looking at phosphates. So was there a change in the phosphates that the cell either produced more of or produced less of? Dr. Talbot described it like a gas pedal. So you could either increase the signaling or you can decrease it. So that's what they were really looking for with these studies. And there was a couple of really interesting findings that we'll get to. But the main thing that we wanted to show with these, just this one example, and like I said, we saw a lot of them, is that the doTERRA oils were creating a change in the cells, and the competitor oils were not, right? So they tested pretty exhaustively, it sounded like. They tested competitor oils from very low quality all the way up to what they called doTERRA's top competitor. And you've got to love doTERRA for having some class, right? For not throwing out the names of these other companies and, understanding that we're probably going to know who this top competitor is. And so really exhaustively, they studied a number of different oils, and what they found again and again and again was that the competitor oils could not reproduce the effects that the doTERRA oils were having. And even more so, they were breaking down the individual components of the essential oils, and those individual components could not produce the effects either, which is pretty important in terms of scientific research, because that's what science likes to do. Generally, they like to really isolate these single components and see what effect they have so that they can nail it down to a pinpoint and say, that's what caused the effect. And what they found with these studies is you can't do that. The oils need to be intact in their natural form, and that's what you've probably heard the term synergy is. So they found that these oils, there is a real synergy that's happening between these components, and they just don't work the same when you isolate them and break them down. And likewise, they tried it with synthetic components as well. So with synthetic components, they were not able to reproduce the results. So if you have the live stream, I would definitely, I know that we kind of like, go away from this kind of stuff, but it's really important to understand, I think, in terms of understanding the claims that we're making and how we're telling people to use the oils, it can help to have a little bit of understanding of how they're working in the body. But these are the main takeaways. So they dubbed it the oil effect. And so they were able to show that doTERRA had therapeutically relevant cellular effects. Also, I wanted to give you guys a side note as well. These slides are available online. So if you miss anything or if you're not able to get a clear picture, all of the convention slides are posted and they're available in a Google Doc. So again, the effects are not induced by individual constituents and they're not replicated by the competitor oils. So it's pretty big news. And they talked about 3 major pathways. They talked about cell growth and rejuvenation. They talked about the immunity pathway. And they talked about the inflammation pathway. So pretty significant systems in the body. And I know, my friend Lee pointed out, on our way back from convention that these are really preliminary in terms of scientific research, but they're still really big and they're still really important, right? Especially in terms of showing how doTERRA is differentiated in the marketplace from other oils that are out there. All right, it's now the fun part. Done with the science. I'm going to refer back to it a little bit. So we did talk about this. The convention kit is now available to us for $243 US, 200 PV. You get all of those fun things that Erica mentioned if you place that order this month. So I hope you guys have. Oh, I had a video. Right. Here's a fun video. I don't know how to play that. How do I play that? Yeah, like this.
I should be able to click on it and play it for you. Yeah.
You guys might have seen this. Did you see this on the doTERRA Facebook page? Maybe, maybe not. Okay. That's 2 minutes. I figure we can spare 2 minutes. Kind of fun.
Oh.
Sorry I'm late, guys. I came as quick as I could. Did you shut the door? Yeah, sure. Thanks for coming, everyone. Now remember, what we're talking about here is top secret. Wait! We can't take any chances that someone could be listening. Good thinking. Okay. You all know why we're here. We've got to do something about our moms. They're just hoarding all the oils for themselves. You should see my mom's closet. My mom always gives them out to the neighbors. I keep them in a special drawer with a fingerprint scanner. And mine's always giving them to my dad to try out. But me, nothing. 0. Me too. On Guard protects me from the gross care virus. And after kickball when my muscles are sore, some deep blue, it would be amazing. Sometimes I just need a little bit of me time and relaxation. It's like they don't even want us to have the full joy out of our life. Right. So it's time to take a stand. You all brought your gear? All right. Here's the plan. Scooter, you cut the power. Macy, you're our eyes in there. Jackson, Mikey. Oh my gosh, my mom's coming. Hey, Mom. Mikey. Hey, Mom. Well, it's nice to see you all finally hanging out off the electronics. And a girl. We're kind of in the middle of something. Okay, I'm sorry. I brought you a little gift. I'll get it from you later. No. Show your friends. They'll probably like it too. Are you serious? Wow, this is so cool. Well, I knew you'd love it. All right. Dinner will be at 6. And put Dad's torch away when you're done with it, okay? How'd she know? Moms always know. I'm so glad. I'm only 7. I've never tased anyone before.
So the kids' collection.
And the idea behind this is really that they wanted to give kids their own oils, right? So that we don't have to be all hypersensitive about like, don't touch the oils and don't open those lids because, I mean, we know they're powerful and we want to keep them safe. But they really wanted to make these approachable for kids and so that moms and parents would feel safe with kids having their own oils. And one of the things that Emily Wright said was, and so you don't have to worry if they're, getting them all over their friends and getting them in their eyes. And I was like, So I put them in my eyes. I'm not suggesting that you do this. I just wanted to be able to tell you that if they get in the eyes, everything is fine. Okay? Everything's fine. And it is very, very, like even the ones with the mint were only like mildly irritating. So really, you can rest assured that everything is okay. That's like the worst case scenario, right? Everything's fine. I was like, I wonder if I should do it while I'm up there. And I don't want to be like giving a presentation like this because I would do like the deep blue. So they made this really easy, and you know, there's little flip cards. If you've seen the kids kit, there's little flip cards, and they're sectioned into mind, body, and heart. And it just makes it really easy to help the kids learn how to address their what they're feeling, right? Teaching our kids to be in tune with their emotions and in tune with their body and what it's doing. So helping parents, but also helping the kids really tune in with what's going on with them. So let's start with the mind and thinker. And I would encourage you guys to try these blends too. I've been trying them out and they're actually beautiful. So vetiver, peppermint, clementine, rosemary, and the thinker blend. This is the kid version of Intune. And I thought this was great because Intune is a really powerful smell. So I know sometimes there's some issues with how strong that is and you want to be able to send your kids to school with that on, but it is so, so smelly that this gets you around that, right? So this is the kid version of Intune. And what you see in the top here on these texts, that's exactly what is on the little flip cards that come with the kit. So, you know, if your kids are reading age, they're going to be able to. But these are great for babies too, right? These are really, really heavily diluted. So they've taken all the guesswork out of all of those ratio charts we find, and we're constantly Googling when someone asks us how many drops go in this roller bottle for my 6-month-old, right? So again, just taking all the guesswork out of it, making it really easy. Calmer is the kid version of Serenity. So, of course, lavender. Kananga, I thought it was really interesting. Kananga has BCP in it, so it has beta-caryophyllene in it, and we're starting to see a lot of oils with BCP in it, so very calming to both our mind and our body. Buddha wood, we see that in our Amavi blend and Roman chamomile, so just all very calming, cooling blends. And I say cooling because I think of, you know, burns when I think of lavender. So body, stronger. Have you guys smelled this? Who loves the way that this smells? Yeah, I absolutely love it. And this I would wear as a perfume. So I've been wearing it just for its scent. We have a Boston Terrier who's very, very small, and I've been using this on her as well. So she's prone to ear infections, and you know, anytime she has a little something going on, she's always our one that gives us some issues. This is perfect for pets too, right? Because they're tiny, just like kids. So that's been since I don't have kids yet, that's been the way that I've been using this a lot. Litsea, I find, is the dominant aroma in this. I really smell that. Rose and frankincense, the king and queen of oils, and cedarwood, all supportive of the immune system. Sorry, I probably didn't say this. This is doTERRA's kid version of On Guard. Right, so this is the equivalent, okay? So we're looking to that for immune support. Rescuer is the kid version of Deep Blue, right? So our little fellow in the video, he can rub this all over his sore muscles. Not surprising to see copaiba in there, right? We know copaiba is really anti-inflammatory. Spearmint, xanthoxylum, I had to look that up, that's an evergreen. Okay, so that's a new one, and lavender. So again, just very calming to the tissues, soothing. It is quite cooling, the spearmint, I really notice in that. And then heart. So steady is the kid version of balance, the grounding blend. So this, for me, I really pick up the magnolia, and I thought, how lucky are the kids that they get to have a blend with magnolia in it from day one. It's amazing. Amyris, balsam fir, and coriander. Again, I really pick out the magnolia. I don't have a really strong nose, but you'll also find amyris is in the next blend called Brave. This is by far my favorite aroma of all of them. Yeah, see lots of nods. So you guys are also loving the smell of it. So amyris, wild orange, cinnamon, and osmanthus. Do you guys find this smells like beautiful? Yeah. So that osmanthus is really prominent, right? So I find if you like beautiful, you're really going to love the way that this smells. So just a steadying blend, a grounding blend meant to instill confidence. You know, first day of school, difficult situations, that's a great blend to be using for those moments. I'm not sure, do we have a price for the Canadian? So this is the American price for the US consumers. So 120? Okay. Oh, thank you. I tried looking it up, but I couldn't find it. So just to avoid a little bit of confusion, some of the slides I was able to update with the current Canadian US price. but some of them still have the US price, because I couldn't find it. So yeah, really, really amazing price point. These oils are all under $20, and that was one thing Emily said. They wanted to make it really available to all families, right? So it's not an intimidating price point, and I like that you can actually buy them individually, so that you're not required to buy the whole kit every single time you run out of one oil, which is really nice. And then speaking about the beautiful blend, I thought it was a nice intro to the body mist. I'm not much of a lotion girl, so I'm not super excited about this, but I know people who are lotion girls are really excited about this, and we love that it's the beautiful blend. And I do use it. I have used it. It's very, very light, right? So it soaks into your skin really quickly. It doesn't leave it feeling greasy, which is amazing. And it's got avocado oil and sunflower oil and coconut oil, and of course natural. And the real claim to fame, I would say, with this, other than the awesome price point, is it's got this 360 applicator. So it doesn't matter what direction you're spraying it in, it's always going to work. So far, so good with that. Am I going at an okay pace here? Yes. Okay, all right. Magnolia. So I was rubbing this all over. I had all the balance, all the magnolia, all the calming oils before coming up here. And magnolia is really special in that it's very calming to the mind, but also to the skin tissues. And like all floral oils, it's really great for our skin. So you can roll it on your skin. You can put it in with your barrage or your skincare, and really great for balancing feelings of anxiety. And Emily has always these beautiful pictures of flowers, as she's presenting the new products. And she likes to say that the flowers' emotional properties reflect the shape of the flowers themselves, right? So she describes magnolia as opening us up, heavenly, connecting us to our higher power, resplendent, which I had to look up, is like shining, like you're shining bright, and instilling confidence in yourself, right? So this was a great one for me to be using before I came up here. The really interesting thing, this is kind of like my forte, right? The science. Yes, science. Okay, I can explain this. So magnolia has the highest linalool of any oil that we've seen. So 71% of magnolia is linalool, which is pretty significant, right? We think of lavender as a calming oil because of its linalool content. Magnolia actually has double the linalool of lavender. And so one thing I wanted to share here, that I think it's Dr. Hill that said this, when we have an oil that has a lot of components, it has a really high number of components, they can have like 150 plus, then it's a very versatile oil and has a really wide range of applications. And when we're finding an oil has a smaller number of components, it's much more targeted in its applications. So my first thought is, I wonder if magnolia will work on burns, as well as lavender does. So that's something I will have to wait and find out.
Don't burn yourself.
Not on purpose. I'll put some oils in my eyes, but I'm not willing to self-inflict burns. There is a line. All right. And the other really cool thing that I love about the products this year, and I just want to say I think this is one of the best lineups we've ever seen released. What I'm noticing is that a lot of these oils are coming out that have very similar chemistry to our most expensive oils. So it's giving us access to the benefits of these oils at a much more reasonable and approachable price point, right? Because there's some people, if you're not doing the business and that kind of thing, that they see $145 for a bottle of Blue Tansy. I mean, they're never buying it, right? There's nothing in Blue Tansy that's like, oh my gosh, I have to buy that oil. So same with magnolia. It's got, I say it's like Heli and Melly. So magnolia is like helichrysum and melissa in its properties. So all we're doing is swapping out the digestive health for sleep. So magnolia is better for sleep, let's say, than helichrysum or melissa, but it shares all of these other properties in terms of the immune boosting, gastrointestinal, skin health. So really awesome that we have these great benefits in an oil that is such an amazing price. Pink pepper. So Emily referred to this as a hero. She really likes this oil, and I think there's some emotional attachment. If you were at convention or you watched the live stream and you saw the lives that they're affecting through the harvesting of pink pepper. And it looks like this is coming from both Kenya and
Peru.
Was it Peru? Oh, okay. I thought it was Ecuador okay, awesome. So Peru and Kenya, and this oil in particular affects many of our body systems. So she was saying, like, right from our mouth down to our behind. So thinking gastrointestinal tract, our liver, our kidneys, And so for that reason, I actually wanted this slide first, but I'd already sent it. So for that reason, it is best to take internally to receive these benefits, right? So you don't have to take oils internally, but if you do, the best way to get pink pepper, the benefits of pink pepper, is to drink it in your water. Lou and I were experimenting a little bit with this. What do you think is going to go best with pink pepper? You know, so we tried it with tangerine, we tried it with mandarin. I really like it with tangerine. It's pretty mellow in terms of the flavor of the pink pepper itself. It's just, you know, it's got that umami. It's very subtle. So again, one of the main components in pink pepper, we've got alpha pinene. It's high in limonene, like our citrus oils, but it's alpha philandrine that they really focused on in the presentation, and it's because this particular compound has been shown to have effectiveness on a number of body systems. So I thought it was really cool that it activates natural killer cells. If you know anything about these are the cells that actively hunt down and seek out invaders in our body, and they actually puncture the cell wall and inject some stuff to kill them so that they can't, you know, continue flourishing or proliferating in our body. So I love that, and I would drink it for that alone. But also cellular health, immune support, inflammatory. You're going to see a lot of the oils are impacting these same pathways. And so a question that came up in my mind a lot is, why would I need to take a different oil if this other oil does the same thing? And I would encourage you to read the work of Kurt Schnaubelt if you haven't. He is an essential oil researcher and expert. He has some great books, and they're easy to read. They're not super sciencey, and you can just kind of gloss over the sciencey parts. But one of the things that he says is that you know, we are as different as we are similar. So what works for my chemistry might not work for yours, and that's where the real beauty of essential oils comes in, because you know, when we have different options that work on the same pathways, that allows us to make different choices for what might work best for us than someone else. Make sense? Good. So again, with the pairings, so DDR prime, I guess this was shown in a previous convention that I was not at, but Utah State University did a study where they were able to show that the essential oils, so it's just an essential oil in a soft gel, you can get it in the actual oil form as well, supports healthy apoptosis, so cell death. And that was one of the things that Emily Wright focused on in terms of talking about pink pepper, is that it really supports healthy cell mitosis, so the growth and recreation of cells, supporting new cell growth and preventing some weird mutations from happening, right? So she was saying this is the perfect pair, really, if you're supporting the cell life from beginning to end, right? Because we want them to die when they're supposed to. We don't want them hanging around. One of the products I'm so excited about, of course I would be the most excited about mouthwash, maybe not the most, but I don't know, it's really awesome. And again, there's science, so I'm like, oh my gosh. It's alcohol-free, and this was a really big deal. A lot of natural mouthwashes, or maybe no other natural mouthwash, is alcohol-free, and it took them a long time to figure this out. So Dr. Hill was saying, you can encapsulate an essential oil, that's fine, we can do that, but can we do it without damaging the essential oil? Well, that's part of the benefit of using an On Guard mouthwash, is you want the benefits of the On Guard. So they had to come up with a proprietary technique to encapsulate the On Guard so that they could put it in our mouthwash. Pretty big deal, right? And just as a side note, I wanted to mention, because they talked about this, if you're using the toothpaste, it's really good. They were able to show like over 30% of people, or more 30% whiter teeth, as well as like a 63% reduction in plaque. That's pretty significant with that toothpaste, right? So you pair that with the benefits of the mouthwash, you have a healthy mouth, and you're rocking, because that relates to our overall health. So 70% of participants, when they looked at the On Guard, they did 2 studies with the mouthwash. They were in the healthy pH range after just 4 days of using the On Guard. So pretty significant. I was like, okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, I'm good. MMP8, this is an enzyme that breaks down tissue in our mouth. So think about breaking down the tissue in our gums. So we don't want that, right? At just a 20% concentration, they saw a 40% reduction in this enzyme. Awesome. At an 80% concentration, they saw an almost 80% reduction. And for reasons that I could not figure out listening to it again and again, they were not able to test it. He just said study limitations. They were not able to test it at 100% strength, but we can assume that if, you know, it's going up between 20 and 80%, we're going to see awesome things at 100%, which is how we're using it. I don't think you need instructions on how to use mouthwash. Deodorant, amazing. So there's a little typo here. This is actually 950. I noticed that again after. Who's used the new deodorant? Yeah, leave your hand up if it works. Yeah. Everybody, right? This is a big thing. Yeah, you can do the sniff test. You like walk around. You're like, I'm good. I swear, it's all good. Yeah. So this was really exciting, and they gave it to a bunch of leaders in DoTerra, ones that they knew were physically active, and they all came back. And everything I've seen on social media is like, oh my gosh, it actually works. So just in terms of value, they made it 50% bigger, and it's only 25 cents more. So really good value there. They made mention of the fact that all of the ingredients in this deodorant rate a 1 on the EWG, the Environmental Working Group database. So that's a pretty big deal too, right? When we know how toxic a lot of deodorants can be. There is going to be a Citrus Bliss flavor coming. We don't know when. And there's also going to be a sensitive skin formula. So one without baking soda if you do happen to be sensitive to that. Okay, getting into the big guns. So I'm really sad because I left my Yarrow Palm in Salt Lake City. Yes, I know. Right. I was really sad. I did win a new one, so I don't think I'll have to wait until December to, get it back in my life because I would be extra sad. But I miss it. So this is a really cool new delivery system that they're calling a nutritive duo. And it's important to know that essential oils do not have any nutrients on their own, right? They don't carry minerals or vitamins or any of those things, but something like pomegranate seed oil, our carrier oils, they do. And Palm has some special ones. So I'm not reading the slides because I figure you have access to that kind of stuff, and I don't need to go through it one by one because we have a limited time. But you can see again, cellular, immune, nervous system, really powerful antioxidant. We'll talk about why that is. Very soothing to the skin. I've got some pictures to show you. And can help maintain blood pressure. There's a lot of cardiovascular benefits to yarrow, so we'll talk about that as well. Purging, and Emily was saying that it is reflective, the emotional properties of this oil are reflective in the physical benefits we see as well. So we'll see purging come up again, relieving, protecting, and mending. She's saying, for the broken hearts. Love Emily. So chemaziolene is, as you may know, a compound that is produced during the distillation process. It is not found in the flowers themselves before they're distilled, but the high heat of the distillation causes this beautiful compound to form. And chemaziolene is actually a higher antioxidant than C or E, vitamin C or E. And doTERRA has a great article on their doTERRA Science blog. If you want to read more about that, I would highly recommend it. And here we see again this high-priced oil in comparison to the yarrow. I think the yarrow is about 95 for a 30 ml, right? So it's going to be a bigger bottle than what we're used to, the first 30 ml that we've seen. And it actually has almost double the chemaziolene as blue tansy. And it has a higher level of beta-pinene, and we're going to talk about why that's important. So beta-pinene is basically supporting the brain and the different processes there, and especially helpful for calming and stress. So one of the things that they mentioned is that the fight or flight response that gets activated when we get stressed out and when significant things happen, beta-pinene is helping to balance that and bring our body back to homeostasis instead of staying in that stressed or elevated state. And it has effect in all of these different emotion, pleasure, motivation, reward, all of these different pathways, beta-pinene has been shown to have effects on. So the really cool part of this, I think, and why it's called a nutritive duo, is because of the way that the beta-carophylline in the yarrow works with the CLA, or conjugated linoleic acid, and punicic acid in the pomegranate seed oil. So CLA is actually an omega-5. So it has to do with the fatty acids, and that's why you see it in this one, this PPAR gamma pathway. They're really hitting us hard with the science this year, right? So it's like you got to try to work your way through it. That pathway is just involved in metabolism, and I have to look all this stuff up too, right? It's not like I'm not like a science major background. I just Google it, right? When I don't understand something, I just Google it, and usually it'll tell you, and you can kind of help make sense of that in your own brain. So the punicic acid and CLA work with the metabolism, and then beta-carophylline is working, of course, on our CP2 receptors, which are throughout our body, right? Not just in our brain. And the HMGCR is related to cholesterol. So that's where we're seeing our support of the cardiovascular system, the heart, blood pressure. Now, they did make a point of noting this is supporting cholesterol levels that are already in the healthy range, right? So if your cholesterol is out of whack, we shouldn't be taking yarrow expecting it to bring it back into whack. But we can use it as a preventative to keep our cholesterols in those healthy ranges. And there was a podcast I was listening to just the other day that was talking about how when you keep your cholesterol levels consistent for your whole life, that actually presents a much bigger benefit in terms of your health than having cholesterol that goes up and down. So that it's pretty significant, I think, in terms of those findings. Of course, supporting the heart. So they also called it a tonic to rejuvenate the blood, which is, again, helping to purge toxins and support of the circulatory, metabolic, and digestive systems. The new packaging, so we don't have this in the ones that we're getting, right? But starting in December, the 30 ml is going to come with a dropper, which just makes it a lot easier to put in our mouths or on our skin. So that's really fun, and I'm excited about that. These were Emily Wright's hands. So she was just saying that when she's traveling, she gets really dry skin, and she started noticing a big difference in terms of what the yarrow was doing, the yarrow palm was doing when she was applying that to her hands while traveling. I thought that was the more significant picture. And I spared you the pictures of my feet from convention, but I actually noticed on my feet maybe 2 or 3 days into convention, they were like white. They were so dry. It's like, 10% humidity versus here, which is like 100. And they were horrific. And I have chronically dry heels anyway. And I thought, awesome, we have yarrow. So I put the yarrow on it. The difference of just 1 day was mind-blowing. Mind-blowing. I almost put it in, but I was like, nobody wants to see gross heels. But you can take my word for it. You can ask them. It made a huge difference in just 1 day. You can come see my heels now if you want to see what they look like now. Amazing. Okay, so you can use this oil internally. I know, again, a couple of my friends and biz partners, they've been taking the turmeric and yarrow daily in a capsule, and they say they feel excellent. They notice a big difference. Just to be compliant, I don't want to say exactly why, but yeah, so Copaiba soft gels. We are familiar with Copaiba. 1 minute? No way! Holy crap! Okay, let's just skip the Copaiba soft gels. We know what Copaiba does. This is the same thing, but in essential oil or in the soft gel form. Carrageenan free, yay! Apparently, doTERRA's carrageenan was never harmful anyway. We still have so many. So green mandarin is amazing. It has a dominant chemistry of gamma-terpenine and limonene, and these work synergistically, again, this word, to decrease neuronal excitability, which is another way of saying relieves discomfort. Okay, that's the compliant way to say it. Combined with yarrow palm for metabolic support, lots of great ways that you could use it. Turmeric, this is my last one. Okay, so this I thought was maybe the most exciting oil. Yeah, I did it. And again, you see these same body pathways, right? Healthy immune function, immune response, nervous system, cellular function. We know that turmeric in its capsule form is really good at reducing inflammation in the body. And this is a good one to incorporate into your muscle relief after a strenuous workout or when they're sore. Dr. Hill was saying that it's really great for helping rebuild that tissue and helping to make your muscles more resilient to future damage. And it also has some really interesting effects in our glucose and lipid metabolism. So just a quick little primer on the difference between curcuminoids and tumerones. Tumerones are what we're getting in the essential oil. The curcuminoids are what you get in the capsules. So he was just talking about the difference between this CO2 extract, which is not a real essential oil, but it's called that on the market, and the essential oil that we're producing. He's saying, don't worry, you already have all your curcuminoids in the most bioavailable form on the entire market, 7 times more available or bioavailable than anything else, and yay, turmeric essential oil. Absorbed really easily by our cell membranes and can act on our cells really quickly and really effectively. On our tissues, antioxidant, cardiovascular, brain function, and neuroprotective. They did a study on that, and they found that with healthy neurons in our brain, right, they actually performed better and functioned better with a greater resilience with the presence of turmeric oil, and stressed neurons were actually able to perform better as well. Here's all the ways you can use it. Wow, that was incredible. Wow. Do you guys feel like like, that was simplified too. It was a lot of science, but that was well explained. And even when you were fast at the end, you were like, yeah, all the mic drop details. I love it. Amazing. Thank you. So next up, we are going to have a panel, and Yolanda Cool, my diamond friend, is going to be leading the panel for us, and I'm going to be sitting on the panel as well as some other people. So, no, I'm not. Oh, I'm getting the boot. Never mind.
We have 5.
We have 5. Okay, we're good. I was back up.
I don't need you. I'm just kidding.
Fine.
We love you, but I mean,
I'll just be
the
your
more
MC,
people
okay?
there are, the longer it takes. We got 20 minutes. Okay, so I need some panelists. Lee? Mel, you get to come back. You guys, I know you all want to hear more of Mel anyway, so don't stop talking. That's how I felt. I was like, I don't want to rush her because this is so good, but I kind of have to. Okay. I'm going to give you guys this mic that you can pass to each other. Hopefully it's on. Yep. If you guys can introduce yourselves, tell me your name, your rank, and how many conventions that you've been to. Because we're going to talk about convention takeaways on the panel.
Okay, so I'm Kelly Kettler. Most of you heard from me already tonight. I am a diamond leader. What was the next thing after that? And I've been to 4 conventions. 3 conventions. Thank you.
You got this. You got this.
Yes.
Hello, I'm Morgan Ecker. I'm a gold leader and I've been to 2 conventions.
Hi, I'm Lee DeGroot. I'm Premier, and this is my first convention.
Melanie, gold leader, 3rd convention. I've been to all of the conventions with Kelly. I'm just going to repeat all of that. Monica, gold 3.
Hooray! Awesome, guys. So we know convention can create this incredible momentum and excitement, and we just wanted to you guys to hear from a variety of leaders who went and who experienced convention, whether it was for the first time or the second time or the third time, and what they felt is going to contribute to their life, to their customers, and to their business going forward this fall. So I've got 3 questions for you guys. Hopefully we can get through all 3. But the first one's really simple. Tell me your favorite new convention product and why you love it.
Mine would be, I'm picking 2, green mandarin and magnolia. I've already made a blend of the 2 because it smells to me like sweet tarts. I don't know. So amazing.
That's awesome. I've blended green mandarin and sandalwood. And that's been my favorite. Yeah, it's fantastic. I don't know how to pick a favorite. I want the mouthwash and the yarrow palm, which I miss. Bring back my yarrow palm.
Yeah, I also have a hard time picking. Definitely, like, I'm a physiotherapist, so the pink pepper, in terms of its neurologic effects, I'm excited to experiment on some of my patients.
So I'm not going with 1, I'm going with 6, if that's okay. I'm going to say the kids kit was my favorite. I think as a mom, and I have 2 boys, 4 and 2, and they are just obsessed with having their own oils. So like I actually started crying when they announced the kids kit because I was like, they're finally gonna get their own oils. I was so moved, like, as a mom, and they were so excited to get them when I brought them home. So kids kit.
I'm also a mom, and I like the kids kit, but it's not my favorite. That doesn't make me a bad mom. I am not the most, like, feminine. Mel was talking about, like, lotiony. Like, I'm not really like a body spray kind of person, but I love the body spray. Like, it's for sure my favorite. Something about it, I just really love it.
I'm pretty sure I jumped up out of my chair sitting beside Kelly and was like, yes, when they announced it. I was pretty excited too. I agree. Okay, the next question is, what was something that you heard over the course of convention that made you fall in love with doTERRA all over again? So maybe something about the oils or the research, contact source and healing hands, whatever it is that you were like, this is why I love this company.
So, I mean, there's lots of things, but, and I literally had like 10 minutes prepped for this question. Like, I was like trying to think of what it was going to be, which one. But I have to say, I was actually really, really, really hoping for some type of animal product. I was kind of hoping for like a dog shampoo or something we were guessing what the shadow of the products was. So I was kind of disappointed when we didn't get that. But hearing from the panel of veterinary professionals who spoke about, I know some of you were excited about the potential of an animal kit. I think it was Emily who said that. But they kind of reaffirmed and gave me confidence that the bottles of oil that I already have in my box are perfect for our animals. We don't need to have like a dog kit or an animal kit. So I just love that they offered up that information. I love that there is going to be a veterinary advisory board. Thank you. I was waiting for that word to come to me. So I'm really excited about that. That was probably my most favorite kind of piece of information that was shared. I loved it.
I would have to say that last year I was really so much more into the science, and not that I wasn't this year, but I was just so much more moved by the healing hands and co-impact sourcing from this year. Again, I was moved to tears. Maybe I'm just a tearful person, I don't know. But I just felt like hearing those stories of the lives that are impacted by us buying these oils and knowing that it's on like such a bigger global scale than just me selling an oil to my friend. It's like, this bottle of pink pepper is affecting people in Kenya. And it was just really that connection that I made between like what I'm doing and people on the global scale. So that really meant a lot to me this year.
I'm similar to Mel in the scientific aspect, but because of my background, I love the clinical trials. So I was excited to hear there's over 200 clinical trials, like human clinical trials going on right now. With essential oils. So I'm really, really excited about that. And then as well with that, I could have listened to the physician panel all day long. And I actually have a picture of the physician panel on my vision board now.
Oh, I love it. I love that.
It was interesting to hear Morgan say this year she got maybe more teary than previous years, because I was thinking the opposite on the way here. I am always the one to cry at like just trainings and at convention, and I found less of that this year. Maybe it's because it's already so deeply embedded within me that it doesn't kind of hit me in those ways anymore. But for me, it really is the science, and it's the commitment that doTERRA makes to being the best, and to not ever selling anybody short, and to really going the extra mile in terms of everything that they do, right? In every single aspect. And I really loved that we had even just a little bit of proof of that this year. I felt like that was a really big deal. And I came home feeling like I am literally trusting this company with my entire life. I am investing everything I have into this company, and I have complete faith in them that they will never let me down.
I agree. I'm sort of along those same lines. I feel like it was the Roseman Institute, right? They were the ones that did the study. The fact that they did that study on their own and then came to doTERRA afterwards. So for those of you who might not be familiar, they bought through the websites of many, many different essential oil companies. They purchased a few different oils so that they could test them. And they went through all of these tests and found that doTERRA's was the only one that had not been adulterated or like added certain things to, even the ones that said were the most pure of like the biggest competitors, which in my mind, we don't have any competitors. There's nothing that compares to our oils. We are not in competition with any other essential oil company. We are here to make a huge shift in the healthcare industry. So that was a huge, huge takeaway for me.
That is amazing. Those were such good nuggets, especially if you weren't at convention. It's a good summary of all the things. Okay, so the last one that I want to ask you is, what was one thing, one nugget, one takeaway that you had that you really feel is going to help you in your business? So something that you feel like that's the thing that I needed to hear for this fall momentum to kick in. What's your one nugget you want to share?
For me, it wasn't what I heard, but it was what I experienced in that for the very first convention for me, I had two of my own leaders, one who's here tonight. Oh, there she is. She's taking pictures of me.
And seeing the two of them here and being able to experience it through the eyes of people who are brand new to convention itself, and just to see them lit up and just like, it gives me chills just talking about it. I just love them so much. And oh gosh, okay, forget it.
I wanted you to start because I wanted to have dibs on this one in case somebody else was going to talk about it. So Gina Truman talked about how she had all of the diamond leaders and up stand up, and she said, in a bit of a confusing fashion, stay standing if you've never or sit down if you've never had to rebuild a leg. And nobody sat down. She's like, and 2 legs, and 3 legs, and 4 legs, and 5 legs, right? So the moral of the story being, don't ever give up on your dreams, right? Because we all have to rebuild. We all have things happen in our business. You can't predict it. That's the nature of life. But I set myself, there was something that I read that was posted in a group years ago, and I thought, even if it took me 10 years to get to diamonds, it would be worth it. So that's what keeps me grounded when I feel like, oh, I have to do it right now. I have to do it this month. It's like in the back of my mind, I'm like, but just in case, it's okay. Like, this is a lifelong journey. It's not a year or 2 years. So that helps keep me grounded, and that was definitely an impactful moment.
Can I say Hugh Jackman? No, but seriously, it was great to hear from, like, we had Tim Hightower, we had Immaculate, like those kind of real life people and how they're using not necessarily just the essential oils, but the Healing Hands Foundation. And, it's real people are getting impacted. And I'm not a crier, but I bawled my eyes out. And Kendra was my traveling partner, and I did have that excitement. I was like, where are we going to go now? What are we going to do? Can we go check out this? So just having that experience, and I'm excited that hopefully next year I'll have some people on my team as well. So, but yeah, I was bouncing with excitement for sure.
So for me, it was an experience as well, and really it was the experience of going to gala and watching my upline walk as a diamond. That was extremely exciting for me. And again, another time that I cried. And I'm videotaping her walking like, oh, I'm so proud of you. But really, it was just the idea of seeing, because when you see that chart at the beginning and you're like, oh my gosh, a diamond makes that much money or whatever, or like, I might never get there, or maybe those numbers are just pulled out of nowhere. Well, for me, it was seeing someone so close to me, Callie's my direct upline, seeing her walk as a diamond and knowing that I can do that too. And she's laid that out for me. And I know that, and I got to watch Yolanda walk last year too. So it was just so cool to see people that close to me in my business, but also as my friends, seeing them achieve those things and knowing that I can someday do that too.
And that you were a part of it, because your team.
I was part of it.
Yeah, that's right.
So actually, probably my biggest takeaway that's going to help my business moving into the fall was something that I actually heard at a training before convention. I attended the Empowered Success training, and it was actually a girl named Danielle Daniel. She's awesome, if those of you who follow her. But she actually said, and just listening to Mel speak, and she's so amazing. It's a joke because I'm not a science person. So I heavily rely on Mel's knowledge a lot of the time. But hearing that, and I'm just that's amazing that you can reiterate all that, but I can't, right? And so that can be intimidating to some people. And what Danielle Daniel said that was kind of so impactful to me was just simply that give yourself some grace. You do not need a whole new skill set to go to the next level. So everyone in this room is fully capable of going to the next level in their business, regardless of what their strengths are, regardless of whether you can reiterate a whole science presentation or not, right? So that was probably my biggest takeaway. Do I have time to say one more thing? Yeah. I think the other thing that always blows me away is the number of people, if you've never been, the first time I went there, I just remember thinking to myself, oh my goodness, look at all these people. This is so overwhelming. But then when it kind of settles in and you see all these people, and it's the number of people who attend and different people, all walks of life. No one fits into a box. Everyone there is different. Everyone has different interests. Everyone has different strengths. And the number of people who are doing this and succeeding. And that just always blows me away, because it's just like I think I've said it 3 times tonight. Anyone can do this. You just have to do it, right? So that's always kind of what gets me.
I love that. I love that so much. If we can just wrap up by saying like how important it is for you to participate in events. You guys who are here clearly already know that. You want to be involved in in-person trainings or online, if you're watching online, the live stream. You want to be a part of that, but we need to impress that upon our teams and even Crossline. Convention is business and life changing. Just being a part of it, all the things that you learn and experience and can share with your customers is so massive. And investing in these things, coming to trainings and hosting your own events and creating this community is such a cool part of what doTERRA has to offer. So props to you who went to convention, props to you who are here. You're making huge steps in your business. Okay, we thank you guys for sharing on the panel. You can have a seat. We're going to do a quick giveaway while I pull the next presentation up. We'll draw a couple of prizes.